another sample video, this one all about Asian music sampled in hip hop. Some absolutely amazing tracks of sampled Asian music, and this is just a handful of some that I've picked out, some of my personal favourites. If you want to see unedited versions of these videos, sign up as a member and you can see videos without me talking, just the samples running straight through. You'll also get access to all 6 of my albums on Bandcamp for free. Just email me as a member and I'll give you codes to download all of those and keep those. All the music playing in the background, my own productions, there's a link in description to those albums on Bandcamp, so you can listen to those, download those if you want to keep them. So let's jump in, let's see what the first track is.
Systems and vocal fighting forms. I'm many moves ahead, the thoughts are highly formed. Like time is Times Square.
So, last night I went to see the 50th anniversary version of Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee movie. Classic film, and one that unfortunately Bruce Lee never actually got to see because he passed away before the film was actually released. So that in mind, I thought I'd start off with a Bruce Lee sample. Off the movie The Big Boss, one of his earlier films in Chinese. Great sample that one. Dilated Peoples track, who I'm a big fan of. Producer on that, Cutmaster Kurt. He was Kool Keith's DJ for a long time. Produced for Kool Keith, produced his Alias, Dr. Octagon, some of those tracks. Also worked with people like Planet Asia. Yeah, great producer, great track that one. Let's check out what the next one is.
Just because I want to, it don't mean I will. And just because I'm angry, it don't mean I'd kill. And just because she looks good, it don't mean I'd hit it. And just
Hiroshima, not strictly Asian music, Asian American band from Los Angeles. I just really like what Primo's done with that sample there. He's chopped it and he's totally changed the rhythm and feel of that production. Guru's vocals over the top really worked well with that track. Great track off the Full Clip album that came out in '99. Yeah, Gangstar, one of my favourite hip hop groups ever. Let's check what the next track is. Tomita, Japanese composer from Tokyo, was very successful, did over 50 different albums, and is considered one of the pioneers of electronic music. His early work in the late 60s and 70s with synthesizers and Moog synths in particular. Anderson .Paak track, produced by one of my favourite producers, Ninth Wonder. Really good at chopping up his samples. There's a really good episode of Rhythm Roulette on YouTube. If you've not seen that, I'd really recommend that one to you. One of the real standout ones. Ninth Wonder used that same track on his Zion 2 album, which was just all instrumental work. So it's just an instrumental version of that track as well. Definitely a great producer.
Mayhem, romance for the street. Only wife for mine, it's a life of crime. It says life's a bitch and many skirts and big checks.
Golden Axe, absolutely used to love that game as a kid. On the Mega Drive, or Genesis as you call it in America, I remember being off school sick, had chicken pox, off for a week, but loved it because I just sat at home, played Golden Axe for a week. Good times. Jay-Z track, produced by Swizz Beatz. The more I listen to this, I'm not 100% whether that is sampled or not. If you see interviews with Swizz Beatz, he says he just came up with that riff himself, played it in. It could just be a coincidence, but it does sound very, very similar to that riff off the Golden Axe track. What do you think? Drop a comment, give us some feedback. Let's get a bit of a discussion going around that one, because I really, really want to know. Either way, works well. It's a great track by Jay-Z. So let's check what the next one is.
Seen a lot of come, I seen a lot of go, but y'all know where I'm from. B-R-O-O, you know the rest pimpin'. Yeah, I was bred different.
Another Japanese musician, serious amount of music he's put out, 120 different albums. He passed away actually earlier this year. Slaughterhouse track, pretty underground. Joe Budden's crew, Royce the 5'9" was part of them. Put out 4 albums and then they've split up. Another Primo production. Just works so well, chopped it, put those drums, those distinct drums of his over the top. Works really good, that one. Let's see what the next track is.
Praise the Lord, I was born to travel, feeling like Slash in front of the chapel. I'm lean back with the last pull. Ride the Harley into the sunset. Ride the Harley into the sunset.
Very obscure sample, that one. Turkish group, and that was the only album that they ever actually put out. Action Bronson track, produced by Party Supplies, which is actually a duo. They've worked a lot with Action Bronson. They've also done some work with Danny Brown, and they've put one album out of their own. Not hip hop, it's actually dance music, but really mainly known for their work with Action Bronson. Big track that, the video for it is pretty crazy as well. If you've not checked the video, definitely look that one up. Real good track, that one.
Don't hurt me again. Don't hurt me again.
Asher Puffley, born in India, spent a lot of time in London, actually started off a career as a flight attendant for British Airways. Another Action Bronson track off the same album as the last one, this one produced by Alchemist. He has produced so many great tracks. One of my favourites, Dilated Peoples, Worst Comes to Worst, is one of his productions. He's worked a lot with Action Bronson, and in 2019 they actually put an album out together. Well worth a check. Great producer. So let's see what the next track is.
Seek love and make it everlasting. I'm the type to wake up and say you never had.
Rosella, group from Indonesia. They just put a few albums out in the 70s. Pretty obscure. Far as I'm aware, no one else has sampled them. If you know any other tracks I have done, drop a comment, let me know. ASAP Rocky track, J Pope and Kanye on the production. Just really a straight up loop, that one, not chopped up or disguised in any way, just running throughout the track. Such an obscure sample, it's probably never been cleared, especially knowing Kanye's attitude when he thinks he can get away with not paying for a sample. So let's see what's up next.
The ghetto Othello the Moor. Oh my God, they speak venomous on the boy. Oh my Lord, my enemy is fear and I'm sure. Oh my God.
Iranian sample. Been sampled quite a lot of times, that track. Another version I like, Slim Kid Trey from the Far Side, DJ Newmark together. They put out a track before then, back in 2014. Actually used exact same part of the sample. So the Nas track is probably a more famous version of it, but it's just exact same sample that's already been used. Kanye again, one of the producers on this, working with someone called Mike Dean, who he often does production with. Decent track, decent Nas track. Much prefer his earlier stuff, but yeah, still showing that he's going strong after all this time.
The protectors of the moon and Makiba, and all true believers, volcanic eruptions, weapons of mass destruction.
Great sample there from a Godzilla soundtrack. Loads and loads of different soundtracks for those Godzilla films, and there's some really good samples if you want to start digging for some. RZA versus Bobby Digital. I've said this on another video that that's a strange title because RZA and Bobby Digital, same person, just different aliases of him. Produced by DJ Scratch. So although RZA is a great producer, that entire album was produced by DJ Scratch. Yeah, really good track, that one. Another sample coming up that I'm sure you'll know. Another one from a Godzilla soundtrack. Let's give it a check. Original pressing of that track. Great track, and one that caused a lot of problems for Pharoahe Monch and Royce. That sample never got cleared, so they were taken to court, they were sued for $500,000, and they were ordered to remove any versions of that track from the album and destroy any remaining copies of this 12. So just goes to show it's really important to clear your samples, especially if you're going to put out singles, get a lot of success. Really, really vital. So yeah, good 12-inch this one. Let's see what the next track is.
Here I am, yep. I'm the man.
Ludacris MVP. What a track that is. The scratches on that by Primo just really, really add to it. Really great beat. One that I really, really like listening to, that. Another Japanese sample. That guy really does lots and lots of soundtracks. That album's one of many that have been put out. It's a compilation album. So Primo's taken that short section of it, just flipped that, turned that into the whole track. Works really, really well, I think. So let's see what the next one is.
Something you don't want to battle with, as if you don't notice. Damn, I'm great. I don't like no fake niggas.
Yasuo just did a few albums in the 80s and then nothing else since. Royce the 5'9" track. Another production by Primo. It says on the notes on the 12-inch from the forthcoming album Street Hop. The 12-inch came out in 2006. That album didn't actually come out though for another 3 years, 2009. So that's a long time, a long gap between a single dropping and then the album. Not sure the exact reasons on that. So Primo's worked a lot with Royce the 5'9". They've obviously got their own group, Prime, which is Primo and Royce the 5'9". They've done 2 albums together as that crew. So let's see what the next one is.
When the lady took birth, I searched the earth just to see what it was worth. My voodoo was strong, so you know I won't get cursed.
Another sample from Hiroshima. Group Home off the second album, Tear for the Ghetto. Producer on that, Rad Prods, Triple Beam Prods. Very obscure, I don't really know anything about them, I don't think they've done much. May have only just come together for producing this album, this track. It's a decent album, that second one. Nothing like standing the test of time like their debut that was mainly produced by Primo. Such a good album, that first one, but there's a few good cuts on this second one too. Definitely worth listening to. Ofra Hazza, who was a singer from Israel, she never saw any money at all from the use of that sample. This was back in the early days of sampling, when the laws on it were very, very obscure. Not like today when it's very clear on what you can and can't do. And paying royalties to use samples wasn't like that back in the 80s, when sampling was in its infancy. Real famous sample that as well. Cold Cut remix. Yeah, just classic 80s hip hop, that one. Let's check out what's next.
The real is back, the veil is back, flow bananas here, peel this back, and what you'll find is...
Hi-Fi Set, Japanese group, between the 70s, mid-90s, put out a lot of albums, did over 20 different albums. Not really that popular for sampling, J. Cole's used them a couple of times. Popular track that one, that J. Cole track as well. Really, it's just a straight up loop. Parts of it filtered down, turning it into more of a bass. But the whole track has just got that one loop running all the way through it. Works really well. So let's see what the next track is. Props to Just Blaze on producing that one. Real good track. It's off a movie soundtrack. Quite a long track, and that's right near the end. Not the very last part of it, but pretty near the end. Quite an insignificant piece, and he's just taken that, chopped it, just made that into the whole track. Erick Sermon from EPMD also features Redman on that track. Real good. Madlib with a crazy track there. Instrumental track off the Madvillain, the album with MF Doom. Just taking that one part, beat over it. There's some video game samples, some vocals as well throughout the track. Yeah, little short, slow skit off the album, but works well, like that one. Let's check what the next one is. Another great Madlib sample there, off his album Beat Conductor in India. Every track on that album sampling Indian music. All instrumentals, really worth a check if you've not listened to it. Pretty sure it's on Spotify, so you'll be able to stream it. Yeah, great track that one. Let's see what's next up.
Love sick like a dog, canine sensitivity. Developing this new theory of relativity. June in the sunlight, I can still hear it in my room past midnight. Gotta move cause it get all the grooves in the moonlight.
Aki Takasi, done a lot of albums, nearly 60 different albums during the time. Pretty obscure for sampling though, not really very popular. There's only really a couple of tracks that I know of that have actually sampled them. Nujabes as well, passed away way too young. Back in 2010, only 36 years old. Done some real good stuff during his time. and I can only imagine what sort of beats he'd be producing today if he was still with us. Really great producer. So let's check the next track.
Brown sisters assisted the villain Doom. He woke up stoked like they were still in his room. Freed his right arm and leg, it was more like a...
Kintaro Haneda, pianist, composer, did a lot of stuff for anime, movies, TV, video game music. It's a pretty varied career. Ghostface Killer and MF Doom together, real good combination there. Producer on that, Metal Fingers, which is one of many different aliases of MF Doom. Yeah, real nice track that, real good album. So that's it, that's the end of the video. Just a small selection really of the many different Asian samples that have been used in hip hop music. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Join up as a member if you want to see unedited versions with just the samples running straight through. And as always, thanks for watching.